But I liked it because it was ecumenical. We worked with other churches. You know, that appeals to me.
It sounds like you've seen a lot of positive changes in the community here over the years.
It was a wonderful community. Then it kind of went downhill, and now it's, I think, coming back a little bit, which, you know, I'm happy about, because for a while there it wasn't good. And of course, there's always been a crime problem in Pine Hills, and it got to be, you know, known as Crime Hills, which is, you know, hated to hear that. But that's still a problem. It's not unique to Pine Hills, but, you know, it's something that still worries me. There's a lot of break-ins and so forth. I know just recently I went down to Daily Bread. Oh, that was another thing that I got involved in, was the Christian Service Center. And when I was on the parish council at St. Andrews, they needed people to be on the board, and I volunteered and went down there. Again, that was my ecumenical thing that I liked so well. So I was involved with that for about 3 years. And just recently went down there to do Daily Bread. Our church volunteers once a year to go down. And we were there, and the lady I picked up and took down there, while we were down there, her house was broken into. Yeah, I felt so bad. Yeah, she was going to go the next day, and she called me. She said, I can't go. I've got to deal with all of this, you know. And I don't think that's so unusual, but it, you know, that's the part about Pine Hills that I'm, you know, upset about. But like I say, it happens everywhere, but I'd like to see that change. And I know the police work really hard, you know. It's not, I don't know how it's going to change, but that's the one thing I would like to see improve for sure. But have seen other improvements in the community.
So what do you hope for the future of Pine Hills?
Pine Hills. I'd like for it to be like it used to be. And I know you can't go back.
What time period?
Well, I'm saying when we first moved here, you know, it was like I was telling you about how, you know, we all knew each other, our neighbors. I didn't even mention that, but our neighbors, we used to get together and play volleyball in the street, and our kids all played together. We all had big families with lots of children, and it was, you know, our street now, there's still 2 people on our street that were there when we first moved in. Of course, we're all elderly now. And the rest have moved in and moved out, and it's gone through rentals. And now it's the rentals. There's a house across the street now that's vacant, you know. The roof is leaking. I'm sure it's getting worse inside. I mean, there was nothing like that when we first moved in. Everybody took care of their homes, their yards, their children. We all knew each other. I'd love to see that, but I don't know if that's wishful thinking or what, but it would sure be nice. We get along fine in our neighborhood, but it's not, you know, like I say, we have one empty house. We have people that don't take care of their yards. You know, we do. I'm a real finicky person about that. I know that's not the most important, but I think, you know, how the community looks, I think then people feel better about their community, even though it's kind of superficial, but I think it's important. And that part I'd like to see improve. I'd like to see the people know one another more and get involved more. I don't see the involvement like we used to have. People, you know, when we first came here, women weren't working. We were all home. Now that both people are working, you know, and the kids, you know, our latchkey kids and, you know, that sort of thing. And it just, I don't know. It just doesn't help get acquainted. We don't have get-togethers like we used to, you know. We used to have a barbecue or something once a month, and it just doesn't happen anymore because people are too busy, and I understand it. They don't have time. They don't have time to get involved in the community and things that are important because their first priority is their children, of course, you know. So, you know, but I don't know. I'd like to see more of that, more involvement in the community, more involvement in the neighborhood. And reduce the crime rate. That for sure.
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about, Pine Hills?
Did I mention the Wellesley Ward Girls Club? See, that was another thing in the past that was really neat. For $5, your kids could belong to the Wellesley Ward Girls Club. They could do gymnastics. They were on ball teams. Originally, we were down at the Orla Vista School. They had some ball fields there, and that's where we played. And then Mr. Ward donated some money right now where the Y is. That was the Wellesley Ward Girls Club, that facility. And so money was donated, and we had all our ball fields out there. And we had other programs, like in the summer, my husband and I were in charge of junior programs, and then Wally and Wilma Huber were in charge of senior programs. And in the summer, we would have like cooking classes, arts and crafts. We would take the kids out to Yogi Bear on for a field trip. We had all kinds of activity, but we donated that time, like I had the cooking class. I mean, the kids, they came, I mean, they had a place to go. For $5, they could do all of these things. It was wonderful, but that too, those days are over. I see that it was a different, I don't know how to describe it, a different kind of community back then. And I don't mean to put down what we have now, but I'm just saying it was so different. And it was healthy, and the kids had a great time. They learned a lot, and that was, it was good. And we were involved too, my husband and I mean, I went to every ball game and always, kept score. So there was, it was all, like on our street, about half a dozen of the people in the street were involved because they had girls and they played ball or the parents, gave their time, either as coaches or whatever was needed. So it was good. So I meant to mention that too. And then somewhere along the way too, I got involved in the Coalition for the Homeless. I went from the Christian Service Center to the Coalition for the Homeless. So that's always been kind of a priority for me too, concern for me. Yeah.
And do they have a base here in this
area?
Oh yeah,
they're down at Central. They've been there since. See, I don't know. I can't keep track of the time, but I know I was involved with the Christian Service Center in the 70s, early 70s. And it would have been maybe the mid-70s, later 70s when we started it. It wasn't in existence. It's the Coalition for the Homeless. Yeah. And so they do a lot down there. Really, they do. They not just provide food, but they have social workers that work with them. They try and get them on their feet. They move from the main building to an apartment where they have to, if the electricity is over a certain amount, they have to pay for it. They have to save a certain amount every month. They get them on their feet. It's not just, and then they are going to be expanding, I understand, because they have a place where people can come, like men, for instance, who have no place to go, and they come and they eat and they sleep there, but, they don't have a program for them to they do have a program for those that are like alcoholic and so forth, and they work with them in a special way too, and hopefully, because a lot of the homeless are alcoholic, but most of the homeless you see are families, and that's the sad part. And they work real well with trying to get the families on their feet again. So anyway, but that was something I'm not really involved with. That our church was involved because we sponsored an apartment. There were like, I don't know how many apartments, 10 apartments, and we had an apartment for a number of years and sponsored that family that lived in that apartment. They were in transition. They were coming from the main homeless shelter into this apartment where I was telling you they have to pay a certain amount, put money aside and all, and then they can go out, finally have enough money after they put it aside to go out in the community and rent a regular apartment. Anyway, we sponsored a family there for a number of years. And, always remembered them at Christmas and Thanksgiving and, or whatever needs they had, we tried to, to do for them. And then also when they would move out, they would take, we had placed in the apartments like dishes and towels and all the things that you would need in the apartment, and originally the furniture. We got furniture from people who were willing to donate. The furniture stayed, but like hot pots and pans and kettles and all went with the family when they would transition out of there. And then a new family would come in, and then we would replace, St. Andrews being the sponsor, would replace all of those items for the next family. So that's how our church was connected and has been connected, but is no longer connected.
How many families do you think?
Oh, I wish I had kept track of that. See, I wish I had been a historian, but I would say they would stay for the most about 6 months. So, we might see 2 families a year, and we probably did it for 10, 15 years. So that would just be a guess or an average. But it was something that was a nice project. And then you get to know the people, and it was fun. But we don't do that anymore. They've changed that down there. The apartments now are in use for the men who are alcoholic, I believe, or with drug problems. And we haven't been involved with them since then, with the families we were in. So that was another thing. I could go on and on, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. If you have anything more to share, we'd love to hear it.
Honestly, I'm sure I do, but I can't think of anything now.
Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing your
You're
memories
welcome.
with us.
I hope it's okay.